going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad. Chris, I got to congratulate you. The Eagles are headed back to the NFC Championship. I believe you said it's the 8th time since 2000. I know you're on cloud 9, so I'm not gonna go raining on your parade. The floor is yours for a few minutes if you wish to take a victory lap.
We're not on cloud 9 quite yet. Got to beat the Washington Commies, and then after that, I'll be on cloud 9 for 2 straight weeks. So I hope you're ready for that. But hey, big win in the snow. It was a fun game. Got to beat the Commanders though. Got to finish the story. I sent you the video. Yeah, Jalen Hurts has got to finish the story over the bad tribal chief. The tribal chiefs. Come on.
It is actually pretty freakish how that render of Cody Rhodes and Jalen Hurts looked really, really. I don't know. It looked pretty seamless there. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, congratulations. The Lions had a rough go of things. That was my passion pick. Because I am in a Super Bowl postseason pool and had to pick a team to support during the Super Bowl, I do have the Bills. They are still in it. They got some money on it. So
were the Eagles on the board?
They were not at the time that I made my pick. No,
that's better. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Even if they were, I
would have picked the Bengals.
Despite you, they wouldn't have.
I would have. I knew they would lose, but I don't want to lose money.
Okay. See. Even then, there's got to be some shade with your shit. All right, fine.
Sometimes.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Make sure you follow us on X at Junkies Pod, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod. But please do us a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. We need your help to get there. Podcast Dad, what is that magic number here around these parts?
1, just like the Eagles. 1 more win to get to the Super Bowl. But if you just tell one person what we're doing here, if you like what we're doing here, not what we're doing here, but if you like what we're doing here, just tell one person. Tell them, hey, these guys are pretty cool. They're having some fun. We're interviewing wrestlers like tonight. That's really cool. And we'll be at the Rumble in a week, so come hang out.
Yeah, cannot wait. Tickets are required for the Royal Rumble as well as GCW. If you are in the area, pull up. Let's all hang out. While you're at it, check out our friends at the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net on all social media platforms. If you love live podcasts, blogs, fan art, memes, you name it, we have it. Incredible group of hardworking guys that we work with and have the pleasure of calling our friends and cannot wait to hang out with most of them at the Rumble next weekend. Podcast Dad, I'm thinking get ready for the Rumble. It's time to bring in some new merch. I got to get a couple of new t-shirts. GorillaPressApparel.BigCartel.com. Remember, promo code WJP2024 gets you 25% off site-wide at checkout. If you're a wrestler, referee, manager, promoter, you need some merch for those tables on the weekends, DM our friends over at Gorilla Press at Gorilla Press APP on X. They are accepting commissions right now, so go support the crew. Podcast Dad, I think it's time for me to stop talking. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I always agree with that. Always. No matter what time of day, no matter what time of year, always.
Well, I promise we are almost there. Tonight, we are joined by a man who's been a staple in the Texas wrestling scene for about 15 years now. He is the reigning and defending New Texas Pro Wrestling Lone Star Champion. And if you've been following his journey, 2025 is shaping up to be his biggest year yet. His passion, creativity, and fire are burning brighter than ever. He's hitting the ground running in this new year. Joining us now is the Gutter Snake, Izzy James. We're going to be talking about his Instagram series, 6 Songs. We're going to be talking about his run with the Lone Star Championship, as well as his upcoming match at Mat War Pro Wrestling for the Trinity River Heritage Championship. So without further ado, let's welcome Izzy F. and James to the show. Izzy, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Eric and Chris? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on.
So let's dive on in here, Izzy. Here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, when we look at pro wrestling as a whole, superheroes and supervillains, that clash. But the one thing they have in common is they all have origin stories. So if you could, just tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
Oh, man. My earliest memories of pro wrestling, man, that goes all the way back to when I was like a little baby. My mom was a huge wrestling fan, so she went to the Sportatorium in Dallas when she was younger, and so whenever I was even in her belly, she was still going to shows. And so one of my earliest memories was seeing Jeff Jarrett in a WCCW ring, and I'm like walking into the Sportatorium, and I have all these photos of me. So like I got into wrestling very early on. And like when I got into wrestling, I mean, I was into wrestling, and like I didn't follow Batman, X-Men, nothing. I was all about pro wrestling, maybe some Ninja Turtles, but but yeah. So like,
Hell yeah.
that's where it like led me to want to become a pro wrestler. Was like moments like that very early on in my life.
Who were some of your early influences?
Early influences, I would have to say, to me, Shawn Michaels is probably the best to ever do it. He's on my Mountain Rushmore. Ric Flair, I love Ric Flair. Jeff Jarrett's on another one of those influences. I really like. He was just so entertaining to me. And then you get into the guys like Chris Jericho and Jeff Hardy. The list goes on and on. And I've been lucky enough to like rub elbows and even wrestle some of those names in my 15 years.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I mean, so like we stated off the rip, your mainstay in Texas right now, crazy scene thriving down there, and you're a major part of that. Give us some of your takes on the current landscape of Texas wrestling. Where do you see it going in 2025?
So that's a good question, because like I think right now the current landscape of Texas wrestling is we have some of the best talent we've ever had, with some of the best positive attitudes in the locker rooms that we've ever had. When I came up in like 2010, we had some bad influences around, just like every place had, and some of those people have been weeded out. And one thing that I took away from those situations of having been around guys that weren't necessarily like good role models was that I wanted to leave the pro wrestling scene in Texas, especially, better than I found it. And I think we're on the right track with the locker rooms that we have, especially in like places like New Texas. They have such a great culture. The locker room is very motivating, and especially when you're coming back to the company after not being there for a while, and then like you see how much like you were respected by those guys.
So you've said the last 6 months have been the best of your career. What changed and like what reignited that fire?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know what changed. In August, I started going back to New Texas and working with them, and one thing kind of led to another. I ended up in a seminar tryout with Gabe Sapolsky, and he gave me glowing reviews, things that I had never heard before, and like it lit a fire under my ass. I think that's where it like really started, because it was like the most. I can't say what he said, but it was just, it was one of those things where it's like, man, I just got to take that and harness that. And then like a couple days later, I got a call to do a tryout for going to Japan this year, and I'll be going to Japan this year. So
Nice.
yeah, so it was just like one thing after another kind of just like started happening. And with that came the, knowing I needed to like step up and show why I call myself the best in Texas, not just, say it and hopefully people believe it. No, I'm trying to showcase that I'm the workhorse. I'm the bar here.
Is that the first time in Japan?
It would be. Okay. Yes.
Nice. Have you been international before?
I've wrestled in London twice, and I've wrestled in Colombia.
How are
Very cool.
How are those experiences? How are those crowds different than here in the States?
Colombia, it's Lucha Libre, so it's a big party. And for that specific, we were in Bogota, and they don't have a lot of wrestling, so it was very like new. So that we had to introduce them, but at the same time, they were completely into it once they figured out like, oh, this is what it is. And we had Matt Cross on the show against Beast Mortos. It was a wild event. And then like in London, I've wrestled for a place called British Empire Wrestling, and they're smart fans. They're the second time I went, it was more of a family show, but the first time it was more like kind of like a cool kind of bar scene kind of show, and it was different to experience. Like they would write songs about you while you're wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be like I used to go by the name Gregory James, and so like they started singing something, Gregory's gonna get you or something like that, because I used to do a dart gimmick, so it was just like I'd never heard that before. Like the fans over here would just
Yeah.
say this is wrestling or whatever the moniker name is. So it was really cool, really cool.
Nice. Well, yeah, let's keep talking music a little bit. You do have a series on Instagram called 6 Songs, and it seems to be a hell of a hit. What's the inspiration behind this, and what have been some of your favorite moments from the show so far?
So 6 songs. I was doing it on TikTok in 2020, like into 2023, going into 2024, and I kind of stopped around June. I wasn't necessarily like putting in a lot of production into it. I was just kind of like, just recording it on my phone and kind of posting it on TikTok. And then I just stopped. Felt like I was not getting any interest. And then I got a new phone that's like an iPhone 15. And I started playing around with the effects and like different editing apps. And I'm just recently graduated from college with a associate's degree in film editing and production, and so I was just going to town, and I was like, let me see what I can do. And so first person I was on a show with, I was like, let me try to bring this back, and it was Heath. Heath Slater was on the show, and like he was the first person I did coming back, and I put the graphics on it, captions, made it like a whole new thing, and like it really took off, and I'm really surprised by it.
So, like music and wrestling, how has that influenced your approach to A, wrestling, and then B, on the flip side, how has wrestling influenced you in music?
So, before I was in pro wrestling, I was in several bands in the Dallas, Texas area. The last band I was in was called Destriers Gate, and we were like a thrash metal band, kind of like Iron Maiden meets today's like Parkway Drive. But it was like we wrote an album, released that album, and then like as we did it, I got into wrestling. I got into wrestling school and like completely changed what I wanted to do. And so I have experience as a songwriter and all that. And so like that's where the inspiration comes, as far as like even my wrestling characters have kind of always been based on music, songs that I like or bands. So I take that and I've used it to make my own character. Gutter Snake is a mosh pit fighter. And so he's just one of those kind of dudes that's, grew up a punk rock kid, loves pro wrestling, loves to fight. So I use that as like, I look at guys like Randy Orton, who you could tell that dude's a metalhead, but he's not like that's not his character, but everybody kind of knows he's a metalhead. I love his music. I love, I listen to Will Ospreay's Elevated song all the time in the gym. Shayna Baszler's original jam, like when she first came to NXT, like, yeah, I love their stuff. It's so cool.
Nice. Yeah. And we do actually have a question. I apologize, Chris. This is from our friend Nick Teodoro. Lots of similarities, music, pro wrestling, and on how anyone makes it. Who influences you musically? And I think you've touched on a little bit of that. Who influences you in the wrestling world?
Musically, I grew up a big Kiss fan. I've seen Kiss 12 times live. And so Gene Simmons has kind of always been one of those dudes who was a big influence to me. He made a hell of a career as a musician and stage performer. Wrestling influences, man. Like if I was to say there's an influence that I would say keeps me going today, there's a guy named Tim Storm, the NWA former world champion. He's a good friend of mine, and that dude, he's always been like the nicest dude and has always given advice, and he still influences me today and keeps me going. Keeps me motivated to keep going.
Yeah,
nice. Who would you say of the people you've had on the show? Who would you say has surprised you with their taste in music the most? Which one stands out as, oh, I would not have expected it from that person?
Honestly, the last one I just recently did with EC3 was the dude's super funny. one of the nicest guys I've ever talked to. But when he said he was like into instrumentals and just like scores, like film scores and
Hans
stuff, I
Zimmer,
was like
yeah.
the Hans Zimmer scores and stuff. I was like, what? Like this? Like I would imagine like maybe Metallica, you know, like I don't know, some hip hop, like he said Kid Cudi and shit. And so I was like, okay, I get that, but then he dropped those other ones. I was like, okay, that's really cool.
So, as a guy that probably his mosh pit days are behind him, I've been in a few. But let's talk about this gutter snake persona because I know exactly who that guy is in the mosh pit. How did that, come about, and then like how has it evolved over the last couple of years?
So for a long time, I did a character called Unholy, and for 8 years, I was like this dark preacher kind of character. He kind of molded and like morphed into different iterations of that. But COVID hit, and I was like, if there's ever a time to stop what I'm doing and change it up, it's right now. Because I've never really taken time off from wrestling. I've never like had too many serious injuries to have keep me gone for 6 months to a year. So I've never had that time to like really reset. And so I took that time, and Izzy is a mix between Ozzy and Iggy Pop. So I came up with Izzy, and I kind of had this idea of the gutter snake originally being like kind of like this goth punk kind of character, leather jacket, gloves. I even played around with the idea of just a mustache, like almost in the '80s in a way. And so I did a photo shoot with the mustache and shaved it right off. But I go to concerts all the time. I'm a huge concert goer. I just recently saw Guar a couple months ago. That was like my 5th time to see them, and I just love the experience. That's a pit I absolutely love getting involved in.
You're insane.
It's absolutely insane. There's a great story where they were doing rowing. Like everybody stops in the middle of the pit and they just start rowing, and you're lined up in this line, and everybody's just rowing. It was amazing. Not what you would expect, but so I'm a huge punk rock fan. Kind of grew up listening to punk rock, metal. Even pop and emo and all that stuff. Like I just. I've always been a music head, so I was like, let me see if this style would work for my character. And I didn't really see anybody kind of doing that thing right, at least in Texas at that time. And so I started, changing the look up and really feeling myself more. Like with the Unholy character, it was very much like a persona put on and stuff like that. Izzy, when he walks out through the curtain, he's just punk rock kid at a concert. He's a rock and roll show, but he's a pit fighter. He's going in there, and if you swing, he's going to stop the fight real quick because he's going to swing right back.
Yeah, love that.
I mean, this transition seems to be paying off. I mean, looking at, this weekend, you've got a match coming up, Matt War Pro Wrestling Last Dance in Cowtown. You're competing. You've got yourself a championship match here, and there's some pretty high stakes on the line. And the last person eliminated doesn't get to compete for the title for a full year. So, how does this caveat change your preparation going into this weekend?
So I've done, all types of matches. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, the Last Dance in Cowtown. So it's going to be interesting because I've done dog collar matches, except this time it's a fatal 4-way and 2 guys are changed to 2 guys and they're crisscrossed and insanity ensues. Like I wasn't at the last show where it happened, the first time it happened, but I've seen the clips and it was just wild. So it's going in there knowing that I'm gonna feel pain. I'm most likely gonna bleed. But I've wrestled all of these guys. I've wrestled Brick Savage. I've wrestled Damon McCullough. I've wrestled Dante Leone, and I can say those dudes bring out some of the best intensity that I have inside of me. Especially a guy like Brick when he starts laying those hits in, man. it wakes me up, man. It's like being in the mosh pit all over again. So like
Yeah.
he wants to hit me as hard as he can, but it's just going to fire me up, you know? So, and that might be bad for the other two guys.
So as we wrap this up, we ask every guest this question.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might know the answer from an answer earlier, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Mr. WrestleMania, when you think of that moniker, is it Shawn Michaels or is it The Undertaker?
Going Shawn Michaels. I'm going Shawn Michaels. I like Undertaker. I was never like a giant Undertaker fan though. I was always a Shawn Michaels fan. It's funny that I did the dark gimmick when I like the flamboyant characters way more.
Yeah.
A little ironic, yeah.
Yeah. But I did
Fuck
like
yeah.
I did like all the dark characters, like even like Tajiri. I love Tajiri. His work with Great Muta. Like that's kind of where I got inspiration for my dark stuff instead of the Undertaker.
That's fair. That's fair. I kind of knew what the answer was going to be, but we
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
ask it. So
Yeah.
Love it. Izzy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media? Where can they catch you wrestle over the next couple of weeks?
Oh man, you can catch me all over Instagram at IzzyJames_PW. It's the same actually on X and Threads, all of that, even Facebook, IzzyJames_PW. If you go to IWTV, you can check me out this Thursday at Texas Contender Series for my new Texas Pro Lone Star Championship Open Challenge. That's right, I'm in my John Cena phase. And
I like it.
this Saturday, we already talked about it, for the Fury of the Forgotten. I'm going to be in that Last Dance of Cowtown, and I got plenty of bookings coming up after that. I'm going on a world tour this year, so stay tuned. Follow me on socials, and you'll see more coming up.
Love it. Well, Izzy, thank you again for joining us. Best of luck this year, and absolutely hope to have you on again soon, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Best. Thank you again to Izzy James for joining us, and thank you guys for stopping by tonight. Greatly appreciated. As always, make sure you're following us at Junkies Pod on X, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod, but subscribe to that YouTube channel. It takes 2 seconds. Head over there, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications. 4 nights a week that you get to hang out with us. I mean, what could be better than that? I mean, I get, he's kind of sometimes, but
it's cold, man.
I'm kidding.
It's cold over here. I don't know about you. It's cold. I'm in the room directly above the garage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The heat really doesn't reach
Yeah.
it. So I'm a little cold, but hey, come hang out with us. That was a fun interview.
That was a lot of fun. And Mr. Ramsey's here. Why do you have to do that every time? Where's your wife?
Go Eagles. You better hope they don't win this weekend, or Indy's gonna be hell.
God, you're gonna be fucking insufferable. Yeah.
I'm gonna be insufferable anyway.
You're gonna be.
We're at a wrestling show. Come on. Come hang out with us. GCW and the Rumble. We'll be at both.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna be acting like that, then no.
I have stickers. If you guys want a sticker, come up and ask me.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do have plenty of stickers there. But
do.
Podcast Dad,
Yes.
It's been a fucking hell of a weekend. Also, I did point this out, but Max wants to just remind you that he's got the Commanders in the family pool there. So
that's fine. That's fine. Hey,
yeah,
we all lose money sometimes,
Okay.
The podcast mom, on a side note, the podcast mom is very excited to meet one Maxwell.
I believe it. Yeah, no,
So,
it's gonna be a fun weekend.
It's be a big day. I'm excited, man. It's just, like I said, going to wrestling shows is a lot of fun with you. As much as I don't like you, wrestling shows is a lot of fun with you. I will say that we usually have a good time, and this will be our third Big Four together.
Yeah. We got ourselves a nice little streak here. I mean,
pretty good.
Come on. Yeah, and for his first show to be not just a WWE show, but it's a PLE and it's a Big Four.
Yeah, Heather's first show was SummerSlam in Detroit. So, not the best card.
We really love him, huh?
It's okay. That's okay. Yeah, she's been to 2 SummerSlams now. Like, who is it? And she was pissed, right? So, again, side note, we'll talk about wrestling here in a second. But I asked her, I said, do you want to go to the indie show, a GCW show, on Friday? You don't have to go. You can just do the Rumble. And she said, Of course I want to go to the indie show. That's my favorite part of the trip. Like, I got her. I got her.
All right. Yeah, no, it's going to
So,
be a good time. A little bit of a GCW action on Friday. Hit the SummerSlam store. Check out the merch. And, yeah,
Rumble
it's going to be a good
store,
fucking
not the
weekend.
SummerSlam
Yes.
store.
Did I say that? Yeah, that's my bad. Yeah,
It's okay. It's okay.
Whatever.
We had 2
We'll sign
SummerSlams
it,
in a row. It's
yeah.
okay.
It is, yeah.
Just don't spend the exact dollar amount that I say you're going to spend this time.
No, I don't know if I don't think I'll go quite that wild this time. But
You said that last time.
I know that. It's we'll see. But I think it's time to talk some wrestling here. Dude, it was a busy weekend. It was like Friday. Let's just we'll start with SmackDown. Kind of hit some of the larger points there. Dude, so that Naomi, Jade, and Bianca story is really starting to pop off here. Naomi says she doesn't know anything, and Jade saying something to the contrary on Twitter. Like,
can't wait to see Jade at the Rumble. Can't wait to see that interaction. I'm excited. Yep. That's gonna be fun. And again, we talked about it last week. I think the women's Rumble has potential to be very, very good. They've announced one person. Like, we're gonna get some big names. I think we're gonna get Becky. They played something for Charlotte.
Notice when they played that, by the way.
That's coming.
That's not an accident.
Somebody lost their last match in TNA last night.
Yep.
She's coming to the main roster. We're probably really going to see Julia. We're probably going to see Roxanne.
Yeah.
Dude, this Rumble this Bayley, women's Rumble, I think, is going to be very, very, very good, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, this was like we've come a long way from the. I mean, we know how meticulously they prepare for the Rumble, but it looked choreographed. It didn't have that feel that we've got. I mean, new concept. You got some stuff to work out, but I think now we're finally in a phase where it's anybody's ball game now to win this thing. I'm really excited. This could be the best Rumble in quite a while.
I'm tempering expectations so I don't get let down. Yeah. Remember, we did this last year.
We did.
I mean, so far the men's Rumble is stacked.
Yes.
I'm tempering expectations right now. Something else that happened on Friday.
Solo walking out of the building.
I think it was the biggest thing. Yes, Jacob Fatu cutting a 2.5-minute promo. Just ding, 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 star. That guy.
He's checking all the boxes.
That guy's going to be it soon.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to just, if they're going to essentially do the enforcer splitting off from the tribal chief story again, I'm good with that with these two. It has been hard to buy into Solo as a group leader, even in this new bloodline with fresh faces. At times,
I think he's done a great job. I know he gets a lot of hate. I think we have seen Solo step up in that role. What he does next, it's going to be interesting. But I enjoyed what I got from Solo over the last couple of months. Obviously, he's not as big as a Roman Reigns. Obviously, he doesn't have the same mic skills as a Jacob Fatu. But for what he did, I was impressed. That's it.
Fair.
That's my point.
Yeah, it was fine.
That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. You're allowed to disagree. Welcome to wrestling.
I appreciate that.
See, guys?
And we do it in a nice way.
Everybody, yeah. See? I know I can be a little chippy at times. A little bit.
Way of putting it.
A little bit. But it's okay to disagree. You teased me. I was out, but you teased me a little bit on Friday when you said I would love Kevin Owens' shirt. Yes. Indeed, I did.
Yep.
Indeed, I did.
Son of a security system technician.
That guy's the ultimate troll. Rey Mysterio at 50 years old having a fantastic match. Can't say anything about that. Great Brown Hope. I see you. But this was it's a good main event. Yep. I really want Kevin Owens to win the title.
I know it ain't gonna happen, but
Maybe.
Mm.
What would a 1 month reign hurt?
It wouldn't. It
wouldn't.
It would not hurt. It would not.
No,
It wouldn't hurt.
it
Wouldn't
wouldn't.
hurt. I will say that. And you know what? It doesn't seem like they have a real direction for Cody yet. Anyway. Well, the Rumble hasn't happened yet.
There's a direction. You just can't see it.
All right. Okay. All right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you say, he doesn't have a direction. Okay, let Owens win at Rumble. Let him win it back in the Chamber. Who cares? It's not going to taint anything if him and Cena wrestle at Mania. It's not going to taint anything. Cody's still the champion.
Yeah, it's not
still
like they're chasing a record right now with Roman or
No.
even Gunther. It's not like there's any. That's probably a title reign that should end at the Rumble. That's just me, but
against who?
I don't know yet. Okay, it just this world title run does not have the same. I hate to use it because we always say it aura. Like there's just something about this world title run on Gunther that doesn't have quite the same intensity that his IC title reign had. That was a revelation almost, and it really hasn't been that way with his world title run since SummerSlam.
It's because they don't have any good challengers.
And Fernando says Roman versus Punk, Cody versus Cena. Those are what he wants to see at Mania. Yeah, no, not at all. No.
I'm looking up the Vamp. I'm looking up the Royal Rumble card real quick because I think there's only 3 matches right now.
Those are the only 3 that I know of right now.
Yep, the men's, the women's, and Cody and Kevin. Like you got to think we're getting at least 2 more, right?
And to add a little bit more credence to what you would like to see, it is a ladder match, so Cody doesn't necessarily need to be pinned in order to,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Okay. All right.
Meanwhile, the men's Rumble, LA Knight, John Cena, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio. Holy shit.
You forgot. Yeah.
I said LA Knight first.
And you got to say all the effects after it. That's all I'm saying.
Like that's holy crap.
It's
not to mention
it has an all-star game feel. Yeah.
Not to mention any of the potential surprises we may get. Some crossover with TNA we may get. Some crossover with NXT we will get. Like there's a chance we see Oba Femi go face to face with John Cena in the Rumble.
Oof.
There's a chance we see LA Knight and Joe Hendry go face to face. Like there's so much potential. Sure. Like, but they both have the titles, so that's the issue there. You could do it. I don't see why not. Braun Breaker and Sheamus is, I think, the program right now, and Gunther and Jey Uso are doing Saturday night's main event. So from that, it seems like Gunther's not going to be on the Rumble card since he's on Saturday night's main event week before.
Yeah, because we did see a little bit of that overlap last time between
because Cody wasn't on the on Survivor Series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so maybe I think it'd be a fun match for sure. I just think that if you're gonna put the title on Braun, let's Gunther left that title at a very nice left it in a great spot. I think that they need to keep that going. Braun just needs to have great mid card matches right now. It's not to say that he won't be somebody that is contending for it this time next year. But I would say let him have some fun with this IC title run first.
Speaking of Braun, Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Saturday night's main event. Okay.
Meat.
Okay. Yeah. I'm cool with that. That's perfect.
Facts.
Anything else from SmackDown? Took a fancy.
Let me check my notes here. Chelsea Green's a fucking national treasure. Absolutely love the Secret Service gimmick that Piper's doing with her. It's gonna make this title run just it's gonna make this title run for sure. I mean, it's creative as shit. And also shout out to Chelsea Green for just being awesome and sharing Alley Catch's GoFundMe and some kind words to her. That was a really, really shitty injury to see happen last night. GCW, it's been a while since I'd been that hyped for a GCW show. And knocked it out of the park, and it's unfortunate that happened to her.
Yep, and we'll be at the one next Friday. So
Yep.
we're pumped. Real quick.
Oh, wait, actually, I apologize. No, you go, and then there was one more thing on SmackDown.
No, go ahead, because this isn't SmackDown.
Okay. I like that they're trying again at the Jimmy Singles push. This feud with Mello, it's fun. That I really enjoyed that match with those two. I think, I mean, if there's anybody that gives big unk energy, it is Jimmy. So this is a fun feud with Mello.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a US title
so,
run for Mello after Mania. Mello kind of just seems to be floating right now.
I wouldn't argue with that. Yeah.
So I'd like to see something for Carmelo Hayes after Mania. I think we will. He's young. He's there's still an opportunity there. A switch over Raw might not be the worst for him. Maybe the IC title feud with Braun. We know they can mix it up. So just throwing it out there. That's something where yes, this feud's fine for right now. Obviously, you want to have Jimmy do something because Jay's over there wrestling for the world title on the other show. So they don't seem to be going back to the Usos right at this moment.
They don't.
So this is a good place.
Don't need to. Yeah,
it's a good place.
Yeah, this is as great as the Usos are, and as great as it is to see them kind of get back together. Tag team division doesn't necessarily need them per se right now because it would be easy to go back to them as tag team champions. Like it's just easy to put that together and for it to make sense. But there are a lot. I mean, Machine Guns are on fire still and find themselves with a shot at DIY again. And we're still waiting to see what the New Day does. I mean, they're going to be debuting tonight on Raw, presumably a new look, new theme song, new presentation, I would imagine. So, I mean, if there was ever a legacy team, quote unquote, that should be going for the tag titles right now, I think it's the New Day. Leave the Usos separate. We just don't need both of them in the division right
now. Shout out to Chad freaking Gable.
Oof.
So he wrestled Penta on Raw.
Yep.
And then had an amazing match with Charlie Dempsey on Speed.
Yep. Look at you watching Speed.
Well, I was scrolling one night and I saw it. I saw Charlie Dempsey versus Chad Gable, and I'm like, yeah, I'll watch this. And, dude, that match was amazing. I mean, just the time that they had, like, that match was so good. Like, if you haven't seen that match, guys, go watch that match. It was
really, really good.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that is a masterclass on how to make the most out of a 3-minute match. It was really, really good. Really, really good. Say his name?
I believe.
Yeah. JBL.
I
right?
believe. Joe Hendry won the big one, new TNA World Champion. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait because that moment was pretty cool.
It was cool. I don't know if it was worth the wait, but it was cool. It was cool. I feel like maybe they should have pulled the trigger a little bit sooner, but hey, maybe they had to wait for that ink to dry on that WWE deal.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want him to be the face of that partnership at this point, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's.
Yes,
I
because
think
when he shows up at the Rumble, it's going to be your TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Joe Hendry, not just TNA star Joe Hendry.
Yes.
So I agree that Jade showing up.
Fun surprise, yes. Yeah, Jade and Rosemary. That would be
you
that'd
think
be a
this
lot of fun.
Confirms that Masha's going to be in the Rumble?
I believe that she is.
Okay.
I believe that Masha's going to be in the Rumble, yes.
Same thing with Jordan Grace. She lost. I think that's over. So I think she's WWE bound. Tessa Blanchard, maybe not. Maybe not.
Those this is a wrestling crowd in Texas that just read her to filth. Like it just.
I mean, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Yeah, no, this I don't know how well this works out for them. I
don't know either.
That was along the lines of Terry getting booed out of the building on Netflix. That I mean,
Dude, that was worse.
this was a major show.
This was worse.
This was, yeah. I mean,
She's
yeah,
a racist. Have you
no
ever
one
heard
outright
that chant?
called Hogan a racist. That's
Have
no.
you ever heard that chant in wrestling?
No, nope,
Yeah.
have not.
That was. We'll see what happens, man. I don't know. We'll see if the backlash does anything, but
I mean, you got that from a TNA crowd, and any WWE crowd is just going to they're just going to destroy her.
They would rip her apart. Can you imagine 55,000 people when she comes on? To be fair, I don't know if most of the audience would know her at a thing that big and that commercial, but that was a rough look.
At a big four, I think that there were enough people that it
maybe with it going international next year, I think you're going to get a flock of hardcore fans because it's not going to be here next year. So maybe,
yeah,
which is really disappointing to say, but hey, money talks. It is what it is.
Ain't that the truth? Mike Santana, his I Quit match with Josh Alexander, that was fucking brutal. Loved every second of it.
You think Josh Alexander goes to WWE or AEW, or you think he does the indie scene for a while?
I would say either WWE or the Indies right now. That would just be my guess.
Go to AEW.
No, I don't know if you're at I just think that's somebody that I want to see bounce around and just do everything that he can because he's that talented. That there's so many names out there that he could work with that would be a lot of fun to watch. And I mean, and Fernando says, yeah, Return to the North on NXT, a lot of fun, easy story to set up with Ethan Page. He's I could see that. I mean, I know that Ethan Page is a hell of a talent, and I think that these guys can both carve out a space on Raw or SmackDown as single stars. Put them together as a tag team. That's the division that's getting the attention right now, and let them have some fun with that. And that we know that Alexander's got the power. We know that Ethan Page has the mouth. Let them do their thing together, and then eventually, when there is some breathing room in the mid card division, break them off. But I think that I would. My guess would be seeing them as a tag team should he go to WWE right now. I just don't think he'd get lost in the shuffle there.
NXT needs tag teams. Fraxium has beaten pretty much everybody. They'll be taking on Rascals. Well, that'll be fun.
Yes.
That was announced. That'll be a lot of fun. But NXT needs some fresh teams, and that would be a damn fresh team. So I'd be happy to see it.
I agree. Podcast Dad, I think we've already talked a little bit about Raw tonight. Bayley is also officially a member of the roster. Break it down like D-Generation X, my friend.
Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre in a rematch of WrestleMania.
Did you see CM Punk troll them?
I did. Divas Championship.
Yep.
JBL is on Raw. Probably why he was on TNA last night.
Yep.
Let's see. Sami Zayn has the microphone.
Love it.
Do we see Kevin Owens? Or is it too soon?
Maybe.
I think he's going to declare for the Rumble. I think that's what we're going to get.
Sami, yeah.
Yeah. Jey Uso is going to be on the show.
He's already declared, right?
Yep.
All right.
Which makes his Saturday Night Main Events match pretty damn predictable. Probably should have waited.
Yeah, but they don't care. Logic.
Lyra Valkyria will be on the show.
New Women's Intercontinental Champion.
Not a ton of matches announced. The New Day is in action. Doesn't say against who. I thought they were wrestling Mysterio and Dragon Lee, but I guess Dragon Lee's going to have to wait for another failed promotion. And Damage Control takes on the Pure Fusion Collective.
Love it. Should be a fun couple of hours.
I assume we're going to see Penta at some point.
I would imagine so.
You think he's in the Rumble?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. And as you mentioned, Bayley is now a member of the Raw roster.
This is for the best.
Yeah, the first kind of real shakeup that we've gotten, and
Yeah. Just keep her away from the rest of Damage Control. We don't need the
For
reunion.
now. For now. Anything else, bud?
Fernanda believes Becky confronts Lyra. I don't think that we see Becky until the Rumble.
Yeah, I think Becky will happen at the Rumble.
Yeah, I think Becky, Charlotte, those returns. You say, I mean, at this point, everybody's coming back. You might as well it's just make it that night for the women's division and just let it pop off there.
Again, with them announcing one person so far, I think that's probably the direction they're going.
Yeah. And this is entirely possible too. It seems like they're teasing that program. I think this would be a great singles match for both of these two as far as a Mania program.
Flip it. Bayley eliminates Roxanne. Roxanne comes in and costs Bayley.
Okay.
Book it H.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, remember, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell one person. We love what we do here, and we want to grow this audience, grow this community. So if you got friends that like pro wrestling, tell them all about us. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern Time. Follow our friends at the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net. GorillaPressApparel.BigCartel.com. Promo code WJP2024 gets you 25% off site-wide. We've also got TWE coming up this weekend. We've got some incredible matches there. We're sponsoring them. Incredible guys. $15 tickets. You can't beat this. We've also got Action Wrestling We Back Up in Fayetteville, Georgia. $10 Visa Chooch, but whatever. That's it. That's really all it is.
That's the statement.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
That's it. For the podcast, Adam, Mr. Cincinnati, Wrestling Junkies podcast. See you tomorrow.